Morning, everybody. Another video before I must head off to work for 9 hours or more. Yes, the joys of retail loss prevention. What will I encounter today? Nonetheless, it is fun that I get to proudly display this, and I'm going to do my side note before I get into the story. So, the other day, doing my MPS, which is basically I get assigned a section, I have to check different categories, 50 items of each, make sure they're all censored, write down the designer and, you know, how many weren't censored and send a report out. Keeps logistics doing their job. And I'm going along writing my notes, checking Armani suits. And there's this old guy looking at me. And I'm like, this old guy looks familiar. I don't know why. An old dude had like black dyed hair, eyeliner, makeup, the whole nine. And then I go about my job. And he points to this. It goes like that. And I go back. I'm like, you know, judging by how the guy looked, he looked like he was into the occult. Then it clicked. It was Alice Cooper. Yeah, in the store. And, you know, we talked for a couple minutes, and the one boomer manager was all fanboying, getting his picture taken. And then Alice asked the boomer manager, he's like, hey man, this was Saturday. He's like, this is at King of Prussia Mall. He's like, this place is packed. He's like, I am who I am, and I got all this stuff, and I'm old, like too old to fight, because we have a lot of issues in our parking garage. He's like, do you have any like in-store security that can walk into my car? And the manager's like, you know, because you wouldn't know it, look, because I don't wear a uniform. I'm a store detective, so I dress plain clothes. So yeah, ended up escorting Alice Cooper to his car, of all people. A bit interesting. Obviously, I didn't ask him for an autograph or anything, or a picture, because I'm just not that kind of person. You know, there's one celebrity where I'd be like, well, I'd hit on her, but you know. Regardless, just a little interesting story, especially considering he knew what this meant and it piqued his interest. Surprise, surprise, he's into the occult. Look at the dude. I mean, come on. But on to the topic of the day. And yes, it's a Lilith topic. Yeah, you saw the title already. I haven't decided what I'm going to call the title of making this, but you've seen it because I posted it if you're seeing it. So, walking the path of Lilith, the path that leads to enlightenment, empowerment, and is the path for one to become a queen in her own right, or I suppose the few men who walk it, a prince consort, assuming you find a queen. Well, I've walked the path and been initiated. I have no queen, so I don't know what I am. I guess I'm just the son of Lilith. So, regardless, mostly a female audience for these videos for obvious reasons. There is something to be known that many women who may find the allure of Lilith interesting, and it should, but this will be the hardest part. Walking the path of Lilith is the path of a loner. Ah, yes. Queen Lilith is a loner, and the evidence is within her story. Keep in mind, you know, Lilith is not for groupthink. Her whole existence is based off of standing up for what she believed to be right, not what a group told her to believe, because there was no group. It was simply her and Adam at the time. So she was going solely on her own emotions, and damn the consequences, literally challenging the Almighty, not knowing what was beyond the walls of Eden itself, choosing exile over submission. That's what she did. It was a red waste desert beyond there, which she wandered for a while, and you know, found Samael, and they had a thing, and she found forbidden knowledge, became a goddess, became the mother of demons. You know the story, or if you don't, I did videos on it. But that's important to note. You know, it's a path of solitude. It's a path of doing what you believe to be right, fighting against injustice, no matter how powerful or popular that is. It's a difficult thing. You know, there is no falling in line walking the path of Lilith. You may, let's be honest, you will be vilified by some, and it has to be something you're willing to undergo. You know, it's not a cool or hip thing to do. Lilith has been appropriated by, you know, certain groups as a sign of empowerment, but these people that do that don't even know what they're fighting for or what they believe in. It's just because it's what you're supposed to. Oh my God. Like, I'm all for fighting the good old boys club. I've been doing it for 20 years, even when it wasn't popular, because it wasn't popular in the early 2000s. It was all about falling in line after 9/11 in the Bush era. I never did, especially when I was in a Catholic school. And you were supposed to vote Bush because Bush said he was pro-life, and he didn't really do anything for that cause. I'm not for that cause, but he claimed to be like the paragon of it, but he did nothing but run his mouth about how he was born again. And it is interesting to note that George W. Bush had a mistress in the 60s who had an abortion. His father actually talked her into that and paid her money. And Mr. Christian Bush was in Skull and Bones in Yale, which is a senior society that selects 13 members each year. Gee, why 13? Because that's the number of full moons in a year, and that's also the number of people in a coven, traditionally. Yeah, you know, and they're known for their occult practices, black magic. So, yes, Mr. Christian, right? It's all a facade, just like that fake Texas accent. He's from Connecticut. He was born in Connecticut. He was like 4 when he moved, but you can talk at 4, you know. I know people who, well, I have a friend who moved from England at 4. He still has an English accent. He uses American vernacular, but he speaks it with an English accent. And the same as like if I were to live in the UK, eventually I would adapt like British vernacular, like, you know, like lift and lorry and things of that nature. But the way I say it would remain the same. And Bush's younger siblings, like Jeb, who was born in Texas, does not speak with a Texas accent. Interesting. It's a character. The Marlboro Man. But back to my point. And that does make part of my point. Walking the path of Lilith does not mean, you know, following fads, following what's cool, because you're going to be on that path for a while. It's going to be tough. She will push you. She will test you. And if you want to reach the end of that path, you got to keep pushing through, even when, you know, fads change, which populars change, what's cool change, and you have to keep pushing. You can't decide like, well, you know, this part of the path was in vogue at the time, and now it's not, so I don't want to do this. Well, then you're done, and she'll never give you any attention again. You know, you must be serious. Lilith won't give you attention if you're following a trend. You know, it's she only deals with people who are serious, and also who can harness some level of rage. They have some craving of vengeance for some injustice of their own and for other people as well, because she's all about vengeance and calling out injustice and making people pay for their crimes, particularly crimes against women for the most part, although crimes that you take away others' free will in general, as hers was attempted to be taken. So that's important to note, you know, that walking the path of Lilith because you think it's cool or it's in vogue or it's going to make you popular, bad idea. Bad idea, you know, because she's got a mean side. And if you're not serious in trying to get her attention or trying to get something for nothing, or aren't willing to fight at all for her cause, which therefore, if you become a follower of her, is your cause, well, then you're just going to incur her wrath. And you don't want to do that, because hell have no fury like a woman scorned. That's about Lilith. So it's just important to note, you know, the path of Lilith has been around for millennia. And though it is recently, you know, been appropriated by, I'll say, fake queens, because like real queens don't need to be taken care of. They may want to be alone. They may seek a partner, you know, to be on equal terms with. Think like Akhenaten and Nefertiti, you know, as a famous, powerful couple that would fit that dynamic. But they're not like the type that would be like, oh my God, I'm so empowered, this and that, but you have to pay for everything and take care of me. That's not what Lilith is about at all. at all. So, just an important thing to look out for if the path of Lilith intrigues you, or if you think it's some kind of shortcut to like being wealthy and powerful. And some people who follow Lilith do get there. She is for giving people wealth, luxury, and power, but comes with responsibility. You have to then use that for the cause, and if you don't, she'll take it away. She's not going to give it to you just so you can buy fancy stuff and go, oh my God, look what I have, look at my stuff. That doesn't make you Lilithian. That if you're about keeping up with the Joneses and saying, look at my stuff, I'm so much better, you look at my stuff, that's not Lilithian, that's boomerism. Boomerism's bad. Boomerism is the status quo. And Lilith, certainly being the first person to defy the status quo of her day, the earliest days, is no fan of falling in line or protecting the status quo just because it's popular at that given moment. So be aware of that, and don't forget to like and subscribe and watch my older videos on the topic of Lilith, witchcraft in general, narcissistic abuse, the struggles of being a demisexual male, being a Sigma INFJ. There's all kinds of playlists in there. You should check them all out and subscribe, and donate to the channel via the links in the About section if you can, because the algorithm hates me and I make very, very little money from my ads. I mean, like most months, I don't break the $100 threshold to get paid each month. So just putting that out there that, I do this because I want this information out there. I know it's never going to replace my main job, although, gas money would be nice. So remember, if you seek Lilith, make sure you're serious. She'll know if you're lying. You can't lie to her. It's just not possible.